brief background. Brian Gene Nichols, born December 10, 1971, gained notoriety for his escape and violent acts at the Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, on March 11, 2005. Nichols, who was facing charges of rape at the time, managed to evade custody and tragically took the lives of the presiding judge, a court reporter, a Fulton County Sheriff's deputy, and an ICE special agent. Following an extensive 26-hour manhunt throughout the metropolitan Atlanta area, Nichols was apprehended. Upon examination of his actions during the escape, the prosecution charged him with a total of 54 crimes. On November 7, 2008, he was found guilty on all counts and subsequently handed a life sentence in prison. Nichols spent his formative years in Baltimore, Maryland, growing up in a middle-class household. He received his education at Cardinal Gibbons School before pursuing higher studies at Kutztown University of Pennsylvania in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, between 1989 and 1990. During his time there, he played football but gained a reputation for frequently finding himself in trouble. Eventually, Nichols decided to leave college and relocated to Georgia in 1995, where he found employment at Hewlett-Packard and UPS. Unfortunately, Nichols' life took a dark turn when he was arrested on multiple charges related to the rape, kidnapping, and assault of a former girlfriend. The incident occurred after he discovered that she was dating a minister from their shared church. The initial trial faced setbacks, resulting in a mistrial and a hung jury. Concerns arose among Nichols' friends and family as they feared he might try to escape, especially considering he had previously attempted to devise an escape plan with the help of a friend. On March 11, 2005, a series of tragic events unfolded at the Fulton County Courthouse involving Nichols. Seizing an opportunity, Nichols overpowered Sheriff Deputy Cynthia Hall while she was in the process of changing clothes. In a brutal act, he assaulted her and left her in a coma, stealing her Glock service pistol in the process. Prior to this, Nichols had made attempts to smuggle makeshift weapons, shanks, into the courtroom by concealing them in his shoes. After donning civilian attire originally intended for his trial, he entered the courthouse and proceeded towards Judge Roland Barnes's chambers. During his journey, Nichols encountered case managers Susan Christie and Gina Clark Thomas, as well as attorney David Allman. Holding them at gunpoint, he demanded directions to Judge Barnes's whereabouts. Sergeant Grantley White entered the courtroom and attempted to disarm Nichols but was unsuccessful. Instead, he was compelled to handcuff the others present. In an attempt to alert authorities, White triggered an alarm, which Nichols tried to silence using the sergeant's radio. Nichols continued his advance into the courtroom, where he committed the fatal shootings of Judge Barnes and court reporter Julianne Brandau. While fleeing the scene, he fatally shot Sergeant Hoyt Teasley. Throughout his escape, Nichols stole multiple vehicles and was subsequently featured on America's Most Wanted as a nationwide manhunt ensued. A reward of $65,000 was offered for any information leading to Nichols' arrest. At one point, he attempted to abduct a young woman walking home from a gymnasium. However, he was forced to flee after her boyfriend intervened and she contacted emergency services. Later that same day, Nichols fatally shot ICE Special Agent David G. Wilhelm and took his badge, gun, and pickup truck. Following a 911 call from Ashley Smith, law enforcement received information that Nichols was present at her residence in Duluth, Georgia. Promptly responding to the call, authorities successfully apprehended Nichols after he surrendered. During the arrest, several stolen firearms and the wallet of Special Agent Wilhelm were recovered. Furthermore, the stolen truck was located approximately 2 miles away from the apartment. Smith recounted to the police that Nichols had forcefully entered her apartment on March 12, subjecting her to a 7-hour ordeal as his hostage at gunpoint. Remarkably, Smith managed to establish a connection with Nichols during this time. She provided him with methamphetamine and read excerpts from the book The Purpose-Driven Life. In her efforts to persuade him to surrender, Smith shared personal experiences, including the loss of her husband, and showed him a scar she had acquired from a car accident caused by drug influence. After preparing pancakes for breakfast, Nichols allowed Smith to temporarily leave the apartment to visit her daughter, giving her the opportunity to contact the police. For her instrumental role in assisting with Nichols's capture, Smith received a reward. Following his arrest, Nichols was taken to a Federal Bureau of Investigation field office in Decatur, Georgia, before being transferred to an Atlanta police station. There, he confessed to his crimes on video, providing detailed accounts of his actions. In May 2005, Nichols was indicted by a Fulton County grand jury on a total of 54 charges, which included murder, felony murder, kidnapping, armed robbery, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, theft, carjacking, and escape from authorities. Initially, Nichols pleaded not guilty, and his defense team indicated that they intended to argue his case based on mental health grounds. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard announced his intention to seek the death penalty in the case. This high-profile trial made Nichols the most costly defendant in Georgia, with the combined prosecution and defense expenses exceeding $3 million. The trial was originally scheduled to take place in July in the same courtroom where the murders had occurred, presided over by Superior Court Judge Hilton Fuller. However, the proceedings were put on hold as Superior Court Judge James Bodiford ruled that a different location was necessary for the sake of fundamental fairness. While awaiting trial, Nichols was discovered planning another escape, leading to his transfer to DeKalb County Jail in October 2006. The trial eventually commenced on September 22, 2008, held in the Atlanta Municipal Court, with Nichols pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. Throughout the trial, the prosecution aimed to challenge Nichols's claims of mental instability by presenting audio recordings of the murders as evidence. Witnesses testified that Nichols had displayed no signs of mental illness during his previous rape trial. Nichols did admit to the shootings in a statement given to the police but contended that he had shot Special Agent Wilhelm in self-defense after the agent pointed a gun at him. However, forensic evidence contradicted this claim, indicating that Wilhelm had been shot while kneeling and bearing other injuries that suggested he was not armed at the time. During the trial, Nichols's defense team put forth the argument that he was mentally ill and should not be held legally accountable for his actions. They presented evidence suggesting that Nichols had displayed signs of depression and had experienced suicidal thoughts following a breakup with his girlfriend. An attorney who had represented Nichols during his rape trial testified that Nichols held the belief that his ex-girlfriend still had feelings for him, despite the harm he had caused her, and that she would not testify against him. Psychology experts also took the stand, testifying about Nichols's abusive childhood and the influence of his father's drug abuse, which had contributed to his own drug abuse issues. Furthermore, the defense introduced college papers written by Nichols, which expressed his belief in a conspiracy by white people to eliminate the black race. These papers were presented as evidence of Nichols's distorted thinking and further supported the argument that his mental state played a significant role in his actions. After deliberating for a total of 12 hours over the course of 2 days, The jury reached a verdict on November 7, 2008, finding Nichols guilty on all 54 counts. Subsequently, on December 13, 2008, Nichols received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. Presiding Judge James Botiford imposed the maximum sentence for each charge, to be served consecutively. Although the jury failed to reach a unanimous decision required by Georgia law to recommend the death penalty, Nichols was spared from multiple death sentences. In delivering the sentence, Judge Botiford expressed, "If there was any more I could give you, I would." Nichols is currently incarcerated at the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification State Prison.